Hi, I'm John. This is Semester 2 Assessment 1 for the Level 4 Sterilization course. So first we're going to discuss ASNZS 4187 2014. The standard is used to specify the requirements and practices necessary for the effective and safe reprocessing, storage, handling, and transportation of reusable medical devices in human healthcare in various health service organization settings. These HSOs include hospitals, general dental, and podiatry practices. The standard is also used so that the HSO can better define and refine its own practices through the standard's compliance procedures and requirements on management. So while the standard itself is merely a guideline for best practice, certain rules and regulations and procedures within it relate to certain legislation found in both Australia and New Zealand. In New Zealand, the standard works in conjunction to the Health and Safety at Work Act 2015 and the Health and Disability Commissioner Act 1994. Compliance is shown by applying the required directions in the normative sections of the standard. ASNZS 4187 applies to processing places that process reusable medical devices and of non-sterile single-use medical devices supplied to those HSOs by the device manufacturer. It is also applicable to wherever RMDs are reprocessed in HSOs, including those used in post-mortem examinations. It does not apply to reprocessing of RMDs that are intended for single-use only, reprocessing of medical devices that are intended for single use only and that have been in contact with blood, tissue, or body substances. It doesn't apply to reprocessing of RMDs contaminated with transmissible spongiform encephalopathies, including Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease. It doesn't apply to sterilization of bandages and dressings. It doesn't apply to items not intended to be used in medical devices, in places that manufacture reprocessing equipment, and in places that manufacture chemical and biological indicators. Moving on to ASNZS 4815 2006, the scope of it is similar to 4187 in regards to most RMDs, but instead only covers office-based healthcare facilities involved in non-complex patient procedures and sterilization processes. It encompasses the environmental conditions for sterility maintenance of both in-house produced and commercially supplied sterile items. It can also be applicable to sterile departments that process RMDs on behalf of such office-based smaller organizations. The standard, like the 4815, like 4187, is a recommendation for best practice and relates to much of New Zealand legislature, including the Health and Disability Commissioner Act 1994, and again, similarly to 4187, its compliance is shown by applying the required directions in the normative sections of the standard, especially so pertaining to office-based work environments. The standard is suitable for medical, dental, and allied health facilities, as well as skin penetration establishments like tattooists and certain cosmetic facilities. It does not apply to day surgical or day procedure centers, where 4187 would be applied to. It doesn't apply to the reprocessing of items intended by the manufacturer for single use. Similarly to 4187, it doesn't apply to items that are contaminated or may be contaminated with TSCs such as CJD. It does not sufficiently apply to workplaces that undertake complex patient procedures and sterilizing processes, where 4187 would again apply to here. Moving on to NZS 8134-2021, the standard is designed to apply to a wide range of specialties, age groups, and service settings within the health and disability sector specific to New Zealand. The standard reflects a more person and fauna-centered health and disability service while committing to fulfill its obligations to Te Tiriti. It also proposes a more outcome-centered approach in enabling consumers to continue to keep themselves and their environment healthy even after their treatment. Due to the standard's relationship with the Crown entity, the standard is a legally binding document to those who are required to comply to it. It's designed to be interpreted in a manner consistent with consumers' rights and organizational obligations as stipulated in the Code of Health and Disability Services Consumers' Rights, the 11 rights, that's within the Health and Disability Commissioner Act 1994. Much of the standard applies to sterile departments, probably with the exception of Section 6, which refer to restraints and seclusion. Additionally, certain criteria such as in Section 2, where the standard requires the service providers to develop and implement a risk-based quality management framework, are amongst many key areas that HSOs such as sterile departments must focus particularly on. 8134 applies to services or service providers that are subject to the Health and Disability Services Safety Act 2001 and Human Assisted Reproductive Technology Act 2004. It also applies to services that's not under the above two acts should still consider adopting the standard because of its promotion of best practices. And private and public health and disability services providers, from small single operator services to large publicly funded ones like hospitals, is applicable to 8134 standards. Thank you.
Thank you.